Coming up on the Greg and Tim Show podcast.
I don't want to say we're going to get you liquored and have a really good time, but we're going to get you liquored and have a really good time.
I don't want to.
You'll be on Sports Center. See, please do that. So I got hoodwinked on this, and so this may be one of the reasons I got fired. It just goes to show you how cutthroat sports is.
What is that
The
called?
upper part of my beard.
It's not upper
The upper beard.
You can't call.
I get a call from Milt. He's like, "Are you looking for a new job?" I'm like, "How do you know?" He goes, "I just gave you the best reference in the world. Congratulations, you got the job."
I know we did a lot of sports today for Jasmine. That was the reason.
Get your earballs ready. Welcome to the Greg and Tim Show podcast. Take time to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Here are your hosts, Greg and Tim.
Well, anyway, you know what? Let's get down to business today.
Today,
We have a special guest who happens to know everything about how to grow businesses and make big things happen. Do you know
big
that?
things. I
Big
know that.
things.
Big
You know,
things.
Jeffrey Bannon.
Jeffrey Bannon.
Jeffrey, not Jeff Bannon. From sales and strategy to leadership and marketing, he's done it all. Or at
All
least
of
a
it.
wide range of things. I'm sure
Yeah.
he's some things he
Dabbled.
hasn't done. But beyond the business world, Jeffrey's got some great stories and insights that we're going to try to pull out of him from his time with the Blue Bombers. And you know, he worked for the Edmonton Oilers. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to try to FaceTime Connor McDavid later.
Yeah, and we're going
Good
to
answer.
talk about some stops along the way to in Regina. They got some great
Yeah,
stories.
He made some stops on the way to Regina. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. Jeffrey, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
So before we go on with any other questions, I have to make a couple points here. Number one, I told this is directed to you, Greg.
Okay.
I told you before we started the interviews, we can't talk to anybody that has a better beard than either one of us.
Okay.
And and I saw a picture. I had not seen what you look like
Yeah.
until earlier this week, and clearly the man
He
has a
wins.
majestic beard and mustache combination.
Thank you.
Whoa. We're going to get to beard. Okay. So me and Tim have this debate.
Yes.
Is it a beard and mustache or is it all one beard?
I don't use the term mustache at all.
Exactly.
Wait, but this does
Do you
not
say you have a mustache?
I say I have a
Well, you do have a mustache. It's right there.
I have a beard.
Again, two things can be true at the same time. This is a beard.
Yes.
This is also a mustache and a
Yeah.
beard. What is the thing above your lip?
I think people that just say they have a mustache can't grow a beard. That's why they say
Okay,
they
but
have a
what's the
mustache.
thing above your lip? What is that
The
called?
upper part of my beard.
It's not an upper
The
beard.
upper beard.
You can't call that an upper beard.
Hey, it's
the-
my upper beard.
Okay, upper
Yeah.
beard.
All right, I'm
You
getting.
came color coordinated today too. Did you notice that? Philly's hat
I
with
did
the
know
same
that.
colors.
Yeah.
I did know that. So that's the one point of contention. So we're going to talk about that later on.
Okay.
Maybe I need a bump in my salary for this week, which is zero.
So we're gonna get you 10 times your salary this week.
10 times.
Yes,
I
10
agree.
times zero.
Handshake.
You actually owe me more money than.
Let's not delve into that. And secondly, we have something else in common. You grew up. I live in the north end of Winnipeg,
Mhm.
and you grew up in north end Winnipeg. Is that correct?
Over 30 years in North End.
Yeah. So you're a north ender, and you said when we asked you what would you like to drink, water, beer, vodka, you said tap water because that's how we take it in the north
North
end.
End.
Straight up, brother.
North End.
And
think was the
and
response.
you got him a. I see you got him a good glass of water there.
The water's over there.
over there.
We can get.
So is this a technical thing again?
no? We can call.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Those lonely pound puppies really need to be rescued. Pound puppy, I'm so glad to find you. Put that lonely puppy pound behind you. You need a name. I'll call you Freckle. Come sharing all our cuddling, caring puppy love.
Pound puppies, each sold separately. From Tonka.
You're gonna ask him the question.
What's that? What's the question?
Just context in his phone.
Oh, you want to ask the question with his contacts?
We
in his
talked
phone?
about how we were going to start the whole thing. I
Right.
laid it out, but you didn't.
Welcome back from the commercial break that we
Yeah.
just had. It was 2 seconds.
What was the commercial?
It was Pound Puppies.
What's pound puppies?
You don't remember Pound Puppies? You remember Pound Puppies,
Pound
right?
puppies.
Jeffrey remembers Pound
What's
Puppies.
pound puppies?
Those
What is
little-
that?
You bought stuffed animals, but they had like names and they were from the pound, and you got a little
They came in a
cage
little
with
box.
them.
Yeah. Like a Happy Meal box, but like dogs.
I grew up in the north end. I didn't have money.
You didn't have money. Tim wants to know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
On the way here, on
Yeah.
our way home from work today, we had a pre-show call. We try to do these before we talk to our guests so that we're on the same page.
Yes.
And we're sort of on the same page, but we'll go from here.
We did it once.
Tim would like to know,
Yep.
who's the most famous person in your phone?
Milt Stiegel.
Milt Stiegel. Prove it.
I just wish it was his birthday a couple of days ago. I just wished him happy birthday.
Oh yeah.
Say just call him and say I want to wish you a happy birthday when he says you already called me. Say sorry.
Actually,
I'm
so
getting-
a funny story about Milt,
Yeah.
if I don't mind. So
Yeah, you go
I
ahead.
got this. Milt's one of my references. So when I actually applied for this job, I didn't think I did well in the interview.
Okay.
So I didn't contact Milt. Like it's a pre-game day. I get a call from Milt. He's like, "Are you looking for a new job?" I'm like, "How do you know?" Because I just gave you the best reference in the world. Congratulations, you got the job.
right. They actually told Milt.
Yeah. So
We're gonna give him the job. We worked.
So,
But you
and
called
then,
us.
and then to have Milt Stegall as a reference on your job. I'm proud to be able to have that, to be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
But that's the last time I'll ever not tell Milt what I'm doing. Right. So
Right.
Yeah, because you put his phone number on your resume.
his email, the whole deal.
Oh,
So-
the email too.
Oh yeah. So now they know. So one Mr. Milton Eugene Stegall.
So we asked Doug Brown if he would call Mel Stegall if we did a contest. There we go. What's that phone number?
I just want you to prove it one more time as I just do that again.
And then just so you know, because I'm seeing Milt next month on Sunday, I just wish him a happy birthday, hiding his phone number. And so yes.
Yeah.
Let's see if I got
We wouldn't
the.
show his phone number.
Let's see if I got that. Oh, I got it.
Yeah. The happy
There
birthday. Good job finding the phone number.
Thank you. The interview's over.
Yeah.
So we did a contest with Doug Brown when he was here,
Yeah.
and we did a coin toss in the spirit of football, and we had a 50-50 chance of him calling Milt Stegall, because he said if we won, he would call him. He said, but I don't care if I have to call him because he's not going to answer my phone
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
So he said that it doesn't matter either way. So we lost the coin toss, and
Well,
Doug Brown would be a close second in my phone.
in your phone?
Yeah.
he lost the coin toss.
Yeah.
No, Doug got to call the coin.
No,
So
I didn't pick the coin.
Yeah.
Okay. You wanted the two-sided coin. That's why.
Yeah.
Those are only in the North End. I couldn't find them in Transcona.
They're all over Transcona.
Yeah.
Oh, good time. So we wanted to chat with you because if you don't know who Jeffrey is the general manager of the new Steinbach Event Center,
Southeast Event Center.
Southeast Event Center in Steinbach, Manitoba,
That is correct.
which is opening roughly
Mid-March.
mid-March right now.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey is going to be overseeing the entire event center there. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. We want to talk a little bit about your history. We know that you have history with the Bombers, with the Oilers, and branding, and all this kind of fun stuff. And also, I believe Tim Hortons
Hortons
as
for
well
4 years.
for a little
started at
while.
McDonald's 13 years.
Canadians for a little while.
Canadians. Yep. It's
So
a
Jeffrey
little bit of everything.
Jeffrey has a contact for every business in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So if you need a contact for a business, Jeffrey will have it for you.
Yes.
But now he lives in Steinbach,
In the community that you
In
work
the community. Yes.
the automobile city.
It's worth the trip.
Yeah.
in. How does it feel to be a bit of an outsider because you're not from Steinbach?
No.
And some of these communities, they're kind of leery about people who haven't lived there for a while. So have you been making a dent in the community and them embracing you as one of their own?
It takes time. It
Yeah.
takes effort, and it takes a lot of face-to-face meetings.
Right.
I don't like Zoom. I don't like those type of meetings. But Steinbach is such a small community, and when you say Steinbach, I'm also talking like Mitchell, St. Anne's, Blumenort, even Niverville. So you have to make those connections, and yeah, 100%. But then they also understand the job that I'm doing and what I'm there for. So it does give me a little bit of instant credibility. I just can't lose that credibility, right? So I
Yeah.
try to keep my mouth shut as much as possible.
You just got to bring the Schmonfat into the meetings more often for
Yeah.
the
And some,
the Rempels and the
does,
Sawatskis.
the beer does help because
Yeah.
I do right. I fit in, but
And he's now known as Jeffrey Reimer.
Well, that'll help.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Like Bannon, what is that going to do, right?
no,
That's not
that
gonna do it.
Irish Catholic name will not. It's not from there. Yes,
It's not from Steinbach.
no.
Or Jeffrey Rempel.
Jeffrey Rempel.
That's
I
gold.
know a Jeffrey Rempel.
Well, of course, there's the Jeff Rempel. Jeffrey Rempel.
Yeah. It's
There's
true.
probably 74 in Steinbach alone.
So tell me, what's the first... You've never lived in Steinbach prior to moving there to help this open
played
up?
football, coached football with my son at the McDonald's home. When I actually drove into Steinbach the first time, because I live in the south end of the city, I was amazed. I'm like, oh my God, they got a dry cleaner. More than one grocery store, more than just a Walmart. So the city has everything that you need. And if you do it's eventually probably 25, 30 years, it'll rival Brandon because it is growing so quickly. I feel confident about that, what we're starting to do, how the community is starting to grow. And the biggest difference coming from living downtown Edmonton, where all you heard was sirens and everything, the Steinbach to peace and quiet, sometimes it's scary how quiet it is.
Yeah.
And how peaceful it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can only hear the screams.
Screams?
I don't know. In Edmonton, you can't hear them because of the sirens.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I heard the Steinbach's actually getting a Qdoba as well.
It is, and a Taco Bell. And I believe a new chain called Chuck's. It's almost like a sports bar.
Right.
Oh,
So we're excited about that. And then we believe that opening the Southeast Event Center, we're going to attract a lot more business.
Yeah.
Right? We need more hotels. We need more high-end restaurants. And so it's coming. But as of right now, it's one of those communities that's just, it's waiting to burst, if that makes any sense.
Well, and that's probably half the reason why you're building it's because you've had so much growth. So what, the Pistons play hockey there, that's the plan. You're hoping to get concerts into the venue, bigger names, maybe similar to the Club Regent Events Center, those kinds of things.
Yeah, so we're 112,000 square feet. Project is going to be close to $80 million when it's all said and done. Hockey over 3,100, concerts 4,000-ish depending on the stage.
That's a pretty good amount.
I think so the artists that come through to play Canada Life, that's not our genre, right?
Those are 15,000 or 12,000.
Exactly. Burton Cummings, that's 1,800. The casino. So we're in that, and what we're finding out now is in the Winnipeg area, take away Brandon, if you're going down number one on one of these artists, you can't, and those locations are already booked, you just keep on going.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we give them that option, 45 minutes outside. So we have this whole network of the tribute bands that play the casinos, what's happening in Grand Forks and Fargo.
Yeah.
We even have now coolest things. We have an America's Got Talent. They have their own agents that books for their guys that are going out, and we're having a conversation with them next week because they do these small town shows like your Kenoras and then your Fort Francises, but they can't stop in Winnipeg because there's nowhere to play.
Right.
Now we're going to offer that. So if we can do shows from 1,000 to 4,000, and then we've inquired from larger acts, but you have to just balance that ticket price,
Right.
which we need to figure out what that market can handle.
Yeah.
And then what the artist would charge, I suppose, right?
That is the artist, the staging, all that right now, and we're getting a lot of the writers that are in, and it's very entertaining to read what they want and what you need. And for coming from the sports background, learning this entertainment concept it's beyond exciting, but it's also like, I don't know what that is. It's an amp, you know what I mean, or it's this ramp. I don't know what that is. Google helps a lot, and then hopefully you partner yourself with great vendors that can help and take care of you. Because as an operations person, I just want our customers to come in and go, "This is awesome."
Have you booked artists yet for a concert yet?
No, because we don't have a firm opening date yet.
Okay.
We have Speed Dial is ready to go.
I heard it's Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift tribute band. Yes, I remember
Taylor Swift.
Taylor
Swift was the first show at the stadium. That was
the
new stadium.
The new stadium.
Yes,
My daughter and her mother went. My wife went.
Do you find it weird that Winnipeg doesn't have a venue that has 4,000 to 5,000 people?
I think we need more. I think Winnipeg needs a couple of those because this is a sweet spot, I believe. And you just look at the job that True North has done, both nonstop. Like I bet you the Burt was bigger. Like I remember when Matt Rife came through, had all those sold out shows. My daughter said, "Hey, I need a ticket." I'm like, "Okay, I'll try my best." Pull a connection, $300 something. I love you, but I don't love you that much. You know what I mean? But then try to get tickets legitimately, can't. And then maybe he does a couple shows at our venue where instead of doing 5 nights in a row or back to back, we can
do 2 or 3 nights.
Do those 3, and it's even
still intimate,
100%,
right? Because it's not a giant venue that's just been squished down to 5,000 seats. It's a 4,000 seat venue, right?
And the cool things we have like 9 suites, we have premium seating area, and it's all when you walk in, no matter where you are. It's almost like Princess Auto Stadium. Sorry, if you're in line for something to eat, you just turn around, the stage or what's happening on the ice is right there.
Yeah.
So I like that concept versus some arenas where you have to actually walk through to. I don't. That's how some of them are built, but I really believe that the more mingling now, and I think sports is more social scene than not a lot of people like to sit down all the time.
Yeah.
Like I love the Rum Hut, but then after a while I'm like, too old to be here, got to move on. Right. We're back in the day. I'm like, ooh, whoa, right? And so then I see my kids in the hut. I'm like, oh man, I'm old. I gotta go.
Yeah.
But then it's the whole social aspect.
Which is why a sport like baseball, we always talk about
Yeah.
baseball. You don't have to like the sport
Yeah.
to enjoy going to a baseball game. It's the nice
And if
weather
you
outside.
go to ballparks, they're
hot
generally
tub,
open.
You
Like
see
the concourses
city.
are always open,
Yeah.
so you can view into the game
Yeah.
at any moment.
Yeah.
That's what they did with Princess Auto Field,
Yeah.
IGF, when it first opened,
Yeah.
was to be able to see the game from anywhere around the stadium. That's the
Right.
one thing that
Regina doesn't
Saskatchewan
have.
and Regina, they didn't do very well. You can't see the game from their concourse, and
Yep.
it's almost
That is the one downside.
cavernous in their concourse
Yeah.
because
Great
it's not
stadium, but
open.
that would be the downside.
the
to it.
outside of the stadium, like the seating is
Yeah.
great,
Mhm.
but the sight lines aren't great, right?
Well,
so
just look at Shaw Park, Blue Cross Park. Sorry,
Blue
I
Cross
think-
Park, yeah, they're
I
all
know it
changing.
changes, so
I can go to a
very-
game as I love baseball. I can go to a game. I can leave the game, hear the train, smell the beer, smell the popcorn, have some peanuts, hear the crack of the bats, hear the crowd cheer. I would even go and mark score if I could, like back in the day,
Yeah.
and then be done. I'm like, oh, they won or lost. It does. Baseball to
Yeah.
me I think is very romantic. You know, people are like, how can a sport be romantic? I think it really is, and it tells a tale. And then, you know, depending what side you're cheering for, you're going to win or lose. But baseball has so much going on besides.
Okay, so you said I agree with what you're saying. People that don't like baseball don't understand it. So you use the
Yeah.
word romantic,
Yeah.
and in a kind of dramatized way.
Yeah.
I know dramatized is probably not a word, but I want to ask you a
Dramatic.
question. Dramatic, sure. I want to ask you a question
Yeah.
because we argue about this from time to time. What is your favorite baseball movie?
My favorite baseball character is Wild Thing Ricky Vaughn.
Good one.
It's tough to beat The Natural. I'm gonna have to say Bull Durham.
Ah, yeah! Woo!
So
He hasn't watched the whole thing, and he
I
calls
haven't.
himself a baseball fan.
I am a baseball fan. I
And he
haven't
likes
seen the whole
movies,
thing.
but he refuses to watch it. He said, "Oh, I watched Bull Durham the other day." He told me.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh,
So-
well, at least the first 15 minutes of it."
No, it was the first 45 minutes. But here's the thing with Bull Durham. It came out when I was a child.
Yes.
And I loved baseball and I watched baseball movies. But as a child, I wasn't allowed to watch Bull Durham. So I fell in love with Field of Dreams. I fell in love with The Rookie. I
Yeah.
fell in love with The Sandlot. And Major League was probably like, I'd watch it when I was a little bit older.
Yeah.
And it was a great movie too. But I can't get over The Field of Dreams and The Sandlot because those ones are my childhood.
Yeah.
Right? So those are the movies I watched as a child. You lived in the North End. You were a heathen. And you watched Bull Durham.
I was an only child,
Yeah.
single parent household, and so basically, if it was on TV, no one's going to tell me I can't watch it,
Yeah.
right? So yes, I'm of course older than him, significantly older than him, even though we look very similar in age. I am quite a bit older than him. So yes, I was able to watch what I wanted to watch when I wanted to watch it because I didn't have the supervision.
So I kind of lose on the Bull Durham thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen the full thing because it wasn't around then. But I like Moneyball. Moneyball is a
Phenomenal
very
movie.
good
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
And just like the cinematic parts of Moneyball, like the music and there's just a feeling when you watch a baseball movie that you don't get when you watch a hockey movie,
Right.
right?
No.
The only movie that comes close in other sports is Any Given Sunday.
I was just gonna say that. That speech is one of the best speeches I've ever heard in my life, and
Right.
then it just goes to show you how cutthroat sports is. But then to me, like Remember the Titans to me is
Yes,
like
love that movie.
We Are Marshall, like those movies
Yeah.
you can't compete with. And then even want to go back to another baseball movie, like the story of 8 Men Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I had to watch it a couple of times, and I probably have to watch that again. But when you talk about fixing in sports,
Right.
Yeah.
and I was going like back in those days, but Al Pacino and I heard an interview with Aaron Eckhart the other day speaking about Any Given Sunday, and there's times when they just put him in scenes
Yeah.
and said ad lib and go, and then
Yeah.
you got Lawrence Taylor there, you got LL Cool J,
Yeah.
you got Jamie Foxx, and like this is the who's who of who at that time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then to me it just the cinema.
Oliver Stone,
Oh, it's
right?
I don't want to say movies are gorgeous, but that's a gorgeous movie.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of ad libbing in a movie and baseball, if you're going back to that, we just were reminded of Major League
Yeah.
the other day when Bob Uecker passed away,
Yes.
and that brought me back when he was saying of our childhood, and watching that movie and watching Mr. Belvedere too. So that was that was a loss for.
That's for
90
baseball.
years old. He lived a long life, and he was a Milwaukee Brewers broadcaster for
He's a legend.
right.
Much of that man can walk around Milwaukee, just like Milk can walk around here.
Yeah.
Right. Or you know what I mean? Or it's you can Timo Solani or Dale Howachuk.
Yeah.
Like, those are the legends, and
Yeah.
Euchre was just amazing, right?
Oh, another person that sat in that seat, Kurt Keelback.
Ooh.
Kurt Keelback was the first person to sit
Taking
in
the
that
fair with
seat.
Well, let's see.
And his book is right beside you, actually. 2 minutes for talking.
To
myself.
to myself. Keeping on the sports topic. Tell me you're not a Phillies fan.
No.
Tell me you just love
Well,
the hats.
Mike Schmidt,
Yeah.
and then the color combo. My Converse actually matched, and then but the reality is I diehard Blue Jay fan.
Yeah.
I actually hated the Phillies obviously when Joe Carter hit the home run, but then you sort of feel like, I wonder how Mitch Williams feels. You know what I mean? Because, but you know,
Well, he was the wild thing too. If you want a
it was
connection, right?
the wild thing, and then you grow up learning the competition because
Yeah.
remember, we didn't have internet back then. We didn't
No.
have social media, so
No.
you actually get to learn the other opposition. And then growing up, I really like the old Phillies. I like that the light blue jerseys.
Yeah.
And I thought the
Roy
purple-
Halladay.
yeah, popped, and then Roy Halladay goes. But at the end of the day, to me, Mike Schmidt was always one of like I remember collecting the stickers and the books, you know, and you know, having whole baseball cards. And then you grow up and you're like, this is the team that gave my team the World Series.
Yeah.
So I didn't like him then, like him now, right?
Yeah.
And then you see, you know, what they're growing now. But to me, baseball, Jay's number one, everyone else number two. And now I just sort of start to cheer. Like when Ichiro got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like I almost cried.
It's just because it's baseball,
like,
right?
come on, like it's great.
Expos or Jays if Expos are around still?
I was born in Montreal. Jays.
If they were still around,
Well, they won in 1996, right? That's the best team that never was. I
Yeah,
think
they
that
should have won that
was,
year.
How about this? I despise the Blue Jays management right now.
nobody likes Atkins, eh?
Despise them.
Yeah.
Bring back Double A. But
He's too
Montreal.
busy winning.
Yeah,
in
but
Atlanta.
Anthopoulos is he's getting a lot of heat in Atlanta too for not signing many people, and he just did the other day.
But he's winning in there.
What do you
He's
want?
still winning.
Well, it's because he has.
Like the rant is, how can you offer Shohei all this money? So you're going to give someone this money,
Yeah.
and then he takes it, then not do any. You have the money, spend it.
Well, they did actually defer on Santander, right?
Yes.
So they
So
did
that's
start
the
doing-
best. It's going under the radar right now, and we don't give Atkins the credit for this one. But the Santander
I saw
contract,
that was deferred.
it's
Yeah,
deferred.
most of it's
And
deferred.
so he's only got 16 million in the first 3 years. It's getting paid, and the rest of the money is deferred to after the fact. So it's a really, really good contract, and they have an out after 3 years, so they don't have to renew him, but
Okay.
they have the first choice to renew for the next 2 years. And then if they don't renew him, he has a choice to move on if he wants to.
Yeah.
So
And an AL East rival too. That's
Yeah.
that's double.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that you saw when they were going through that pennant chase with Batista and Donaldson, that
Yeah.
city and this country galvanizes towards the Raptors and the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I feel that they don't have just an obligation to metropolitan Toronto,
Yeah.
which is the center of the sports universe apparently in
Yep.
this country. But we want to cheer for the Blue Jays. We want to cheer for this country wants to stop work in October.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why they play at 2:00, but we'll stop what we're doing and we'll watch it at 2:00 on a Wednesday.
Well, that was the big Batista home run in the
It was in the afternoon.
bat flip. It was in the afternoon. I
I
was
remember because
working.
I was late for football practice.
Yeah.
So I couldn't leave. My son's like, we got to go. I'm like, we ain't going
We
nowhere.
were working up north. We had no
Yeah.
internet connection where I wasn't. And
Yeah.
my buddy, he was watching, and he just ran up.
Yeah.
He's like, "What happened here? I saw this happen to Batista." He's like, "Oh, wow, it's amazing." Yeah. Anyway, that was his
Yeah.
voice went really high too. Going back, maybe talking about the Dodgers a little bit.
Yeah.
I had this question for you. You have different sports and how they do monies and wages and things like
Yeah.
that. So the Dodgers feel like they spend so much money and they keep spending money and it's deferred, whatever. They keep signing
Yeah.
people. They signed another reliever yesterday. And then you have in the NFL where they have a situation where it's maybe controlled a bit, but the result in the NFL, but you have the Kansas City Chiefs, that are playing in their third straight Super Bowl, right? So even though
Mhm.
the team has become a quote unquote super team, and within the structure of whatever it
salary
is,
cap.
the salary cap, right? First of all, maybe back up a little bit, but the question: do you think fans like super teams in their sports, or do you find that they like more parity? Because it seems like you would like more parity, but it seems like we gravitate to the Golden State Warriors and the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, what do you think?
New England Patriots back in the day.
Right?
The current Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
If you're those, so when we were with the Bombers,
Yeah.
everyone loved us
Yeah.
because we weren't winning.
Yeah.
Now the Bombers
They
start to
just
win.
hate us. It's
Now everyone hates the Bombers,
Yeah.
and you see this because they're winning. But if you're that fan base,
Yeah.
no disrespect to any. So we know a couple Kansas City Chief fans. I
One of them is part of your crew,
did not want them
unfortunately.
to win.
along with apparently no. I was cheering for the Chiefs, by the way.
But now that they're going for 3, but then
Yeah.
I also think, well, I want Philadelphia to win because I think Mr. Barkley deserves a championship for everything that he's done.
Right.
And another one of the teams I don't like is the New York Giants
Yeah.
because you don't know how to. You couldn't even run a donut shop or an ice cream stand.
Yeah.
And so now to me this is a little. But then you look at a guy like Andy Reid.
Yeah.
His coaching tree is maybe next to Bill Belichick. I don't know what it is, but they're winning because people are buying into a system and who he is.
Yeah.
And I think he's more likable than Bill Belichick.
Oh, 1,000%, right? So, but to
Bill Belichick's not dynamic in his personality.
no,
Well, neither is Andy Reid.
no,
Andy
No,
Reid's
he
not
can't-
dynamic either, but Andy Reid is so understated
Yeah.
and so quiet. When he speaks, people listen. Whereas when Bill Belichick speaks, not a lot of people outside of the team
Andy has that
really
Uncle
care.
Andy kind of a character where has a big mustache and he's
Does he have a beard and a mustache, or just a
beard
mustache?
and a mustache, and he kind of gets lovable.
he does.
You get that just from him, and whereas Belichick, it's like, what's he doing? It's secretive,
Belichick's
closed.
like the evil empire.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is like Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, that's
He's got the hood on.
That's what he is.
He's
Yeah.
very evil looking.
But
I
when
guess-
you win,
yeah,
remember it only matters inside the locker room, and
Yeah.
now outside the locker room, I think the country is going to be divided. I think, or the watching audience, but I think more people would have watched, say, if it would have been Washington versus Buffalo.
right.
But now you're watching this and going, I don't
I've
care.
seen this game before.
I've seen this game before. I don't care who wins.
Yeah.
But then remember, the NFL does what the NFL does.
Did you hear that all of the league got together and got all the refs to make sure that the Kansas City Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl? Didn't you hear that? It's all over the internet.
I heard that.
So it must be true.
It must be true.
And the story makes a lot of sense because that would logically make sense to do that in a professional sport.
So from my background in retail, you know this, the Kansas City Chiefs fans are not going to buy anything unless it says to repeat.
Now,
Now, where the Eagles fans will buy anything. So if you're the NFL, I think you're sitting there going,
Yeah.
merchandise-wise
Yeah.
and licensing and everything, it's sort of a, who do we want? But I think Kansas City is going to run into this bit of a problem soon where Tyreek Hill, for example, he thought he chased the money. Can you imagine if he was still on this team? Like,
Yeah.
so that's, I don't think you're going to see too many guys like that happen much anymore because I don't know about him, but I'd rather have 3 rings on my
yeah,
fingers.
then chase the extra $3
Right.
million.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
stopped
Well,
outside
some
the-
players they're in it for winning.
Hmm.
Some players are in it for themselves,
Yeah.
their stats.
Which
paycheck.
player has more babies born than touchdowns this year? Was that Tyreek Hill?
That was Tyreek Hill. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, you say the fans, like they always loved the Bombers when they were losing.
Yeah.
Like they didn't hate them as much as they do now.
Other teams fans, yes.
Yes, other teams fans, and that's exactly what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Other teams fans loved, the lovable Bombers.
Yeah.
And the Bomber fans were like, this team, right? And now the Bomber fans are like, yeah, our team. And the fans that are outside of us. So it's kind of a mixture.
Yes, it is.
If you're the Cubs and you haven't won a championship in 85 years, people love the Cubs.
Everyone loves the Cubs.
If they start to
100 and
win,
some years.
yeah, whatever it was. If they start to win championships every year,
You'd hate
you
them.
hate the Cubs, right?
Well, it's like the curse of the Bambino for the Red Sox, right? They were
Everybody
the lovable losers.
loved
When
the
that ball goes
Red
through
Sox.
Buckner's, I remember cheering like crazy when the Mets won that.
I see it right now in my head. Yeah,
series,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And now they've
Mookie
won
Wilson.
a few. And
Yeah.
they're almost not as hated as the Yankees because nobody hates a team like the Yankees, unless you're a Yankee fan, of course. But Boston's, they're not too far behind,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and so it's kind of that love hate, like.
Yeah.
And the one thing with baseball though is that I would want to go to a Boston. If I went to
Yes.
Fenway, I would be a Boston fan for the day,
100%.
right? The same way I go to Yankee Stadium. Tim hates this. When I go to Yankee Stadium, if the Jays aren't playing the Yankees, I'm a Yankees fan.
100%. I agree with you.
I'm
Because the
the
crowd-
total opposite. I was at Fenway and I was cheering for the Pirates. And I was in New York and I was cheering for the Orioles.
No. So
Very quietly, of course.
So like I'm not going to like Vegas and cheering for the other team. I'm not going to the Cleveland Browns and cheering. But those iconic stadiums. Yes, I may. Oh, wearing a Yankee cap would hurt. But at the end of the but it's an AL East rival.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you go to any other park, you
Yeah.
cheer for that. And I think with baseball, you can sit like imagine going to PNC Park in Pittsburgh, or you just sit there and you're like, or in San Francisco, you look out Cubby's Cove.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's more about the experience than the team you're cheering for. And that's why New Era sells so many hats because and I remember seeing this a long time ago, outside, you go to a Boston game and, you dump a Yankees hat, they give you a Red Sox hat, and I think that's for your personal safety.
Do they give you like a full price, like
It's
expensive one?
probably a promo hat, but it's like, do you want to be safe?
Because I just gonna buy. I bought a Yankee. I did buy Yankee hats for when we went to
Yeah.
New York for our family.
Yeah.
At least 3 of us or whatever. But they were on the Brooklyn Bridge, and they were like
Yeah.
the
The Velcro
the
ones.
$10 ones, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when you bring a baseball from home. And then you have it in your back pocket. When you get the real baseball and you have to give it to a kid, you flip the baseball from the pocket.
A, that's evil. B, you'll be on Sports Center. C, please do that.
So we went to spring training this year,
Yeah.
and we like to shag balls, right? And most of us, as long as we get one, that's all we really need for a souvenir. And we went to 5 games, right? So we're going to the pregame thing, and we're watching batting practice, and we're sitting around. I'll get a ball, and like there's no kid around, so fine, I keep it, right? Next ball I get, there's a kid, I'm giving it away. One of the guys in our group didn't get a ball at any of the games, and at one of the games he got the ball. It was tossed up to him during the Twins. It was during the game. It was a game ball,
Yeah.
so it was tossed up to him after the inning.
Yeah.
He caught it, and there was a kid beside him.
So our friend is a young man of 52 years old.
He was a 52-year-old.
And I can't say what he does because he's a highfalutin kind of character with a big title.
He's a president.
Well, I didn't want to go that far. He's a president of something. I'm not going to say a country. I'm not going to say a province.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that. Bleep it out.
Yeah.
So just to give you some perspective of who should be getting baseballs and who
Yep.
shouldn't be. Anyway, continue.
So the kid is there, and then everybody starts yelling at him to give it
Yeah.
to the kid. And eventually he gives it over to the kid. But here's the worst part. As we're leaving, because this was like the last inning, as we're leaving, he's getting heckled by all the fans. Like,
give
you
the
should
kid
have
the
given that to the kid
ball."
earlier. We saw you weren't going to give it to him, right? So
But he's also a kid inside too. Like
You don't know the half of it.
like a baseball is what, $12, whatever it is now. But catching a foul ball, I understand. It's not a $12 ball. That's
No.
that's a
That's a-
6-year-old you
Yeah.
going to games,
Yeah.
shagging fly balls, doing what you can. No one, and when I see that, and you see people, in the empty bleachers, they get a ball, they give it to a kid.
Yeah.
Between us, he already has a ball at home.
Agreed.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
got one before. It's
Yeah.
not-
Some of these kids are pros.
Yeah.
At spring training, we saw they had the bag of balls.
Yeah.
Just give me a ball.
and he's putting it into his bag
Yeah,
of
and to give you
balls.
some perspective, our friend who will remain rave. So, rhymes with rave. Anyway, so he was at the Jets were playing in Montreal last
Well,
night.
wait, but to end that story, we
Yeah.
go to the Tampa Bay Rays game with the Jays-Rays home opener last year, and we go to batting practice. He catches one of the batting practice
Yeah.
balls, and he literally runs away so that he
Yeah.
doesn't get heckled.
Start the car.
Yeah, and he's not very fast. He's running away very slowly.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was also in Montreal at the Habs Jets games last night or before this taping yesterday. And I think he was starting fights because he's heckling them, isn't it?
I think he was heckling them, yes.
Yeah.
Because he's a Jets fan and a Habs game.
Yeah, he said he was yelling pretty
Are you a
loud,
Habs
so-
fan?
Patrick Waugh, grew up loving him.
Yeah.
When I moved to Toronto, when I was born in Montreal, when I moved to Toronto, I was 5.
Okay.
My dad was a huge Habs fan. Hockey Night in Canada back in the day. Remember, we were the remote control.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only way I can say a word was to say, "Oh, Leafs look pretty good," and talk like that. I think I was disowned for a while. Then I made a horrible life decision at 5. Fell in
Right.
love with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And when you were 5, the Maple Leafs sucked.
That was 1980.
Was it Rick Vive years?
Wendell
boring
Clark.
as solving.
Exactly.
Wendell Clark a little
Mike
bit later.
Palmentier.
Yeah.
And then
Rick St. Croix.
and then Doug Gilmour
Goaltending
comes
wasn't
over.
great.
So let's just say this: when the Leafs ever play the Jets, if the Leafs win, I get nothing. When the Jets beat the Leafs, I have to turn off my phone because
People
my friends are mean.
trash.
Did you
Because
go-
your friends are mean.
Well, he's got us as friends, so they're definitely
Yeah.
mean. Do you go to games at the old Maple Leaf Gardens? You go
I went to
games?
one.
Yeah.
Way different is tickets were tough to come by back then,
Yeah.
but we took the subway and buses by ourselves.
Right.
And it wasn't even 14 then. It's a whole different vibe. Sitting upstairs, they played the North Stars from Minnesota. Smoke, you couldn't even see because the smoke,
Yeah.
right? And the big sign painted on the wall says no smoking. And we're like, everyone's smoking. But you know what? It's today, tickets were not what they were back then, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harold Ballard was a different type of owner, but just to go to one game at Maple Leaf Gardens, and now when you go back, it's like I think it's a
I
Loblaws.
walked by for the
No,
first
it's a rink
time.
still.
It's still a rink.
Yeah, the university
Partly, yeah.
plays there.
Okay. Yeah.
I walked by that place for the first time in 2004, whatever the year that SARS destroyed us all.
Yeah.
I think that was the year, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I barely noticed it. It was so like the
It
arena
looks like the Eaton's building
Yes.
or like the Bay.
Yeah.
It's just a brick
Tiny.
building in the middle of downtown
Downtown.
Toronto.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, only half of it. I think you're right. The Loblaws is on the top or the
Okay.
bottom half of it, so it only has half a rink now. But yeah, it's still. I just actually watched a video about somebody that wanted to tour it. You can tour for free. So you can go into Maple Leaf Gardens because it's got a fitness facility and it's an open building because it's a university building.
Gotcha.
So if you want to go back into Maple Leaf Gardens, you can.
Gotcha.
And the roof is still there. So the roof is very cool in that building.
Such part of history. Those
Yeah.
buildings.
Do you want to ask some of the real questions we have, or do you want to just keep talking sports?
Well, let's talk sort of sports, sort of not.
Okay.
You're part of a group called the 1939 Crew, is it?
So it's a 1930 crew. So
Okay.
we started a Labor Day bus tour.
Why did I
1930
write it down wrong?
was when the
Yeah, I
Bombers
wrote it
started.
Yeah.
That was their first year. So
Is this and we've gone to Labor Day many times, and I'll tell you a backstory. We went there, just four of us guys, not in a big group or anything. That'd be fun to do, and I'm sure we'll do at some point, but we didn't that for the now or whatever before. And I think on the way there, I think Patterson was stopped by our table, just me and my buddy, and he was talking to us, and he just came back, chatted with us for 15 minutes, and it was almost like, okay, I need to get away from my group. They're crazy. They're nuts. Just need a little bit of peace and quiet. So I'm going to sit at your table because you guys look like friendly folks, and you didn't really know us.
Yeah.
So, tell us some, is it wild? Tell us maybe an interesting story about one of the years.
So last year was our first year.
Okay.
And so Pat Rathwell started with Brent Schul, longtime founder of, it was called the True Blues Booster Crew.
Yep.
He passed away just before we opened Investors Group Field. So saw Pat helped out the tour when we worked there. We gave them merchandise, swag. We helped them, and then saw Pat 2 Labor Days ago, 2 Banjo Bowl games ago, and we just walked up to each other like, it's time to do it. It's time to do it.
Right.
So we started this bus tour, and the whole concept is thinking like a fan.
Right.
So, for example, when you show up for us, you get a breakfast sandwich, mimosa, coffee, and Baileys. Before you get on the bus, you've had several Jell-O shooters. You have your merchandise pack.
So it is that kind of a bus.
And then when you're on the bus, the toughest thing I had to do is walk. I couldn't. I'm a larger guy. I was walking up and down the aisles with like the blue sourpuss and other blue beverages, trying to pour shots. And then people made Rice Krispie squares and cookies. So everything we do is trying to treat you like a fan,
right?
Because we're fans that way. And and then this upcoming year now, we're doing we're serving breakfast the day of the game. We're having a barbecue reception. I don't want to say we're going to get you liquored and have a really good time, but we're going to get you liquored and have a really good time.
I don't want to say this, but it's going to happen organically. And when I say organically,
I mean organic vodka.
Yeah.
So my mistake, I thought you've been doing it since 1939.
No.
It's the 1930 crew.
Yeah.
I know.
It's
I know.
a typo up there. I hit the wrong number.
Sorry, I thought you were doing it since 1930, but this is just brand new.
Yeah. So and last year it was really tough. We thought we were going to have to cancel. We did one bus. We didn't get really going till the end. Now we've already pre-sold one bus already. We're on
Right.
the second bus.
Oh, and that's because of you got them liquored up, and that's the. Hey, I want to go on that drug cruise again.
Actually, we can show. We'll get permission right now. We got permission to show some videos that you guys took during the
100%.
trip there. Okay.
Yeah.
So the videos there, like, everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
You see the people getting on the bus; they look like they're ready to go to a football game. They're getting off the bus. They're at that pizza bar. What's that place called?
The Strafoni's, and then we went to, and then that Wayne's World is a big tailgate.
Yeah, big tailgate.
And then,
Wayne's World.
Zach Schnitzy kept on saying singing Experience Regina everywhere we went. I didn't realize it was actually a commercial. You know what I mean? Back in the day. So now everyone's singing Experience. I can't even in my head, right? Shout out Zach. But at the end of the day, it just comes to the point where you have to take the dollars and cents out of the equation. And our first year was not financially successful for us, but that's not what it's about, because we're sitting there, we're seeing everyone, and we're like, they're all smiling and laughing.
Right.
And then we sort of sent this little email after, hey, who would like to come back? And it's like email just explodes.
And then they tell their friends.
They tell their friends, they tell this. And so it's really fun to see it from the other side now. Like, do I miss my time working at the football club? I do, but I much prefer being a fan. Like it's not even, for me, a Blue Bomber game day, Greg, you remember this, it's a whole day, but now as a fan, it's a whole day. I got to mentally prepare. Yeah. And at this age, I got to take the next day off too, because I'm getting older, right? Yeah. So, yeah. But it's the whole part about the bus tour is to just treat you like a fan from a fan.
Right. What did you do for the Bombers?
Director of retail, sales, marketing, their little community relations. Try to do everything.
Branding.
If you ask Tara Maslowski, I was manager of brand development. I was always told to go brand something, so I did.
So what he did was he took stickers and just put them everywhere.
Everywhere. It worked. The jersey designs, I think we redesigned 6 jerseys. I think 5 were really good. The camo one, don't ask me about that.
I didn't mind that.
Wait a minute. Let's get to the camo one for a second. Where was the gold in the camo one, and why did Reebok get to choose that?
So I got hoodwinked on this, and so this may be one of the reasons I got fired. So they came out.
Breaking news.
They came out to us and they said this design was aimed at the youth, the younger generation. So at that time, my son would have been the perfect demographic, and they said, we really want you to digi camo. The league is doing digi camo.
Right.
Yeah.
Being an elder statesman in the league, I probably should have called everyone else saying, hey, are you doing the digi camo? Yeah. I didn't do that because I took Reebok's word. It was a massive presentation, really nice lookbook. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Showed it to a couple players. They said no. I'm like, Reebok's doing this. Only have to order 600.
Yeah.
We can get away with this. And they had the whole military theme. It was nice and blue. Boom. They even showed it to a couple people around the office. We were good to go. Reebok, everyone is following the same pattern. Yeah. Yes, everyone's following the same pattern. Signed off on it, gone. They do the launch. I'm sitting there like, we're the only ones that did the digi camo. And then I remember, and Wade just started then.
Yeah.
I get a call to his office. He's like, you better sell them. I'm like, woo, here we go. But I got fired.
There's 400 left.
Yeah, it was 400 left. I got fired before but they all did sell. But at the end of the day, it was one of those things where we took the word for the head office.
Right.
And we really, because remember that time Minecraft was huge, that whole, to dig into it. But you realize quickly, you can't go after a market that's not your market.
Right.
I remember once I went to Jerry Maslowski and said, hey, we have to go after the young female teenagers because we have everyone else. And then I got a really quick lesson in marketing. I remember Ace Burpee was there, Kim Babbage. We had this conversation. Go after your key core audience. That's who pays your bills. That's your bread and butter. The rest will follow. And then,
and if they don't, you still have your core.
You still have your core, and you never want to upset your core,
right?
Because I was really trying to go that different avenue to try to get them in. Because remember, at that time, the Bombers were struggling.
Yeah.
We weren't selling out. We weren't successful on the field. Once Milt left, we really struggled.
Yeah.
Milt left and Doug left, and then God loved Buck, but Buck was running for his life the entire time. So we really had a tough time, and we tried to diversify our marketing efforts, and then we sort of strayed. And then if I could, even now, what we're doing now is key core audience, the rest will follow. And the same thing, you walk through the Rum Hut now, it is like,
they're not watching the game.
You're not watching the game. You're paying a cover charge to go to a bar.
Yeah.
My daughter is, in her early 20s. That's where they go.
Tim just bought the cheapest tickets so he can hang out at the Rum Hut.
Very smart man.
Actually, I got back into season tickets after I left when Mike Kelly came.
I love Mike.
I sent him. We might
get him on the show because I have contact with him.
Yeah. We had Kahari Jones, and I knew they were thinking about releasing him. I like Lahari Jones, not the best
No,
quarterback.
it was
Everybody
Kevin Glenn.
Kevin Glenn, sorry.
Kevin Glenn.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Kevin Glenn. My apologies. And they had 4 guys in camp, and I knew they were thinking about cutting
Kevin Glenn.
Kevin Glenn. Sorry,
Yeah.
I won't forget.
He's so memorable.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, Kevin
He's a
Glenn.
great guy.
And I sent an email saying, "Listen, if you don't get rid of Kevin Glenn, because this is the record of all these 4 guys. They're unproven. Unless you get somebody else in there,
Stefano Pirro.
keep the
Forrest.
veteran." And he sent me an email back and said, "I know the CFL. I know quarterbacks. Trust me, renew your season tickets." And I hadn't had season. I dropped him immediately, and I did not get him again until this year.
This upcoming season is going to be his
It's my
season
first
back.
year back, so
But
welcome
we
back,
did
Tim.
go to the 2019 Grey Cup together, and that's where I met Tim.
Yeah.
Was
I'll go to games. I just didn't have season.
I was a part of a group,
Mhm.
and very similar to your 1930 crew, right? One buddy knew everybody else, and he's like, "Hey, you should come with us. There's going to be 6 of us in a van. We're going to drive to the game."
Yeah.
We went to that game. Amazing game. We all, like, ever since then, we've really all hung out, and you get that core memory together, and
Yeah.
now you can grow, right?
Yeah.
Your crew, like your 1930 crew, I bet you a lot of those people didn't know each other when they started, and now some of them are probably texting each other. Some of them are
We
like,
go to
"Hey,
games, we take pictures, we we see the bus driver, we hug him, we take pictures. It's a little family because you have this little time together, but you have one common goal.
yeah,
A, don't talk to the enemy. B, beat the enemy.
Right.
C, outdrink the enemy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, A and B first. But then we see it, and then even at Wayne's World, when all the other bus tours come together, it's like, that nod, like, when those Mazda's commercials and when they the bikers do the peace signs, like,
Yeah.
just like, when you were walking down Regina, another Bomber fan, you're just like,
yeah,
I got you. And then it's that stadium to me is, I love that stadium. If you ever have a chance to go underneath that stadium, that is one of the best stadiums I think in North America.
oh, underneath it,
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's something that I think we missed the boat on that here, but
Right.
then obviously we're trying to learn from us. But the
Yeah.
reality is when you get together in that common goal of sports, love or hate a team,
Yeah.
I think that binds people together.
Speaking of those camo jerseys, you have
Yeah.
400 left.
Yeah.
We have a friend. If you bring it down to a cerern price, he'll buy all 400.
yes,
I will go to a local thrift store and see what I can find.
I honestly, I actually like the camo jersey.
I didn't mind 'em.
If the gray was gold,
Yeah.
right? Like if it was blue and gold instead of blue and gray, that would have been
Yeah.
the seller. And they actually went to the exact same design with their third jersey 3 years ago with the W on the front. They kept the exact same design, but they just went with the regular colors,
Yeah.
right? And they actually went with more of a traditional design with the sleeves and that kind of stuff. So you've been in various different groups. So you've been with the Bombers.
Yeah.
How long were you with the Bombers? Like 20 years?
No, 10 years, 9 seasons. Yeah.
10 years, 9 seasons.
Yeah.
You were with the Bombers. You went, I believe, to Canadians from there, if
Yeah.
my memory serves me correctly. From there, you went to Tim Hortons, managing a bunch of
Yeah.
Tim Hortons. And from there, you've gone to the Southeast Event Center. But in the middle, you went to the Oilers.
Correct.
You have now been with a team like the Oilers, which is a NHL. So you have to go national.
Mhm.
This is going to be a lot of red tape. This is going to be a lot of differences compared to the Bombers. What was the biggest difference you found between the Oilers and the Bombers?
CFL is like a family. The NHL is a business.
Yeah.
There's no way about it because it's not. There's no I enjoyed my time working more with the Bombers because we were a family, as you know that, right? It was
Yeah.
there was when we were there was like 20 of us.
Yeah.
Now you look at the roster, there's 60 something. Like they're growing because they're winning and they can afford to do that. But in the NHL, there's no. It's what else have you done for me lately? And I understand that because their costs are so much more.
Mm-hmm.
They give you like Leon Draisaitl's making $14 million.
Yeah.
Connor's going to make. Here's the bank. Just take what you want. And I think I can only imagine what the NFL is like. I can only imagine what baseball is like. But to me, there's a lot more pressure working for the NHL because even when I was there, I was very fortunate. It doesn't take rocket science. Everything 97 and 29 sells. We had the number one account on several merchandise categories, but I always kept on getting asked, well, you need to do more. You need to do more. And then inside my inside voice, I was like, well, then maybe you can sell a couple more tickets. Maybe you can do that. I would never say that.
Yeah.
But when I walked out of the door, I did. And then we would always look, okay, what else can we bring in? What other collaborations can we do? And then this, you can only do what the team will let you to do.
Yeah.
Because the performance on the ice, the performance on the field or the court dictates what you can sell. And then when you sell the most amount of jerseys in the NHL and someone's wearing a white Connor McDavid and then buys a blue Connor McDavid, I'm sitting, and they're $300 something each, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there going, "Don't say anything, Jeffrey. They're going to buy it." I'm like,
Yeah.
and then they come back the next day wearing an alternate.
Yeah.
I'm like, "You got 3 McDavid jerseys?"
That wouldn't be me, but I understand there's a demographic of people that will do that.
Yeah.
Do you find like
Don't look in my closet.
so you mentioned Draisaitl's making 14, Connor's going to make who knows if he stays in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And we had this argument with a friend last year when the Jays were going to sign Shohei Ohtani,
Yeah.
or he was on a plane to come to Toronto, whatever the whole fun
We
story
sat
was.
there and watched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His son messaged us saying he's in a plane. He's in a plane.
Yusei Kikuchi has rented a whole restaurant.
Yeah.
So
And that is his voice.
it is definitely his voice. But like the argument was, well, no guy, Connor McDavid is not worth this money. Shohei Ohtani is not worth this money. And the argument against it is like, wait a minute. How many jerseys are they going to sell? And Edmonton's one market, and the NHL's one market. But when you talk about baseball, and Shohei Ohtani in Los Angeles, Shohei Ohtani in all the states, and him in Korea, how many jerseys is he going to sell? Is that worth it? Does that team recoup that money? Because you're coming from a retail aspect of it, right? When you sign these guys, does the team make that money up in revenue from that player?
It does, but it's also the auxiliary revenue. Like if you look at when I was there, or I think it was last year, McDavid was on American TV 16 times, the most of any player. So it's the exposure, and then you just take that. Okay, so the patch on the jersey, the patch, the sticker on the helmet, they can charge more for that now because of those things that you don't count for. Jerseys, they only get a certain percentage, right? So it's
Unless it's sold directly by the Oilers.
yes,
right?
or the team. So then they get that in. But I'll take Shohei Ohtani. If he were to went to the Blue Jays, well, we're wearing Ohtani jerseys right now. There's 3 of us, 100%.
Yeah.
And we have more than one. And it's not just us. It's like, look at Kobe Bryant. And to me, one of the greatest travesties of all sports is Michael Jordan wasn't around in this type of era where everyone would be wearing a Mike. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Like, that's the greatest Michael, Jordan, LeBron, whatever it is. But to me, a guy like Connor McDavid, a guy like Nathan McKinnon, I don't care where you are, they're worth every cent. And I think potentially they may be underpaid for what the value they bring. And if they win, then it's
crazy that you could say it's Shohei Ohtani. I know a lot of it's deferred, but that he be underpaid. Like
$700 million.
What you just said, he's making $700 million.
Even deferred, like even though he's eventually getting $700 million.
But you're saying he could be underpaid. That's insane that you would say that.
well, look at the money. It's the revenue they bring in.
Yeah. And you have to look at it this way too. So the Dodgers aren't just selling Shohei Ohtani jerseys; they're selling all the hats to the new Dodgers fans that are now Shohei Ohtani fans, right? Like people didn't buy Angels hats until Shohei Ohtani played for the Angels. Like Mike Trout, yes, he sells a bit, but Shohei Ohtani, that's generational, and that's sold overseas. That's being shipped. And a team like, or a place like New Era, who a friend of ours, Cameron, who works for New Era, he like salivates at the chance to sell the Bombers winning the championship, right? Now we get the hats.
Yeah.
The hats bring in the money. And all the money that the Bombers have made over the last couple of years with championships, when they did win the championships, and even now when they have the Grey Cup gear, that's extra money that they never ever had.
Remember when we were there, season's over,
That's it.
tumbleweeds.
Yeah.
Right? Now they win. It's even Christmas sales, off-season sales. It's completely different. And look at the Cowboys, to me, is a perfect example. Is you don't really need to be that good to sell a ton of stuff. The Yankee cap, to me, is the one difference where it's the most popular cap in the world. People are going to wear it because it's it's the cultural hip hop. It's just the most iconic hat I've ever seen in my life. I think the Dodgers now with Shohei,
It's very close.
you know they're winning when you see females, non-baseball fans, and younger fans wearing it. We'll wear it because we're fans.
Yeah.
But when it gets onto the fashion forward, then it's all over. Look at Taylor Swift. I think she's single-handedly responsible for selling every single Travis Kelce jersey smaller than an extra large
to the
to the demographic that wouldn't.
to a demographic of a teenage girl who is one of the target audiences in a lot of sports.
So I know Taylor Swift's
research
not going to
I've
watch
gone
this,
to.
unfortunately, but she deserves a cut.
We've done a lot of shout outs to her, so eventually maybe she'll hear us.
Yeah.
But
But
she'll be on when Tara comes on.
Yeah.
But
It would be
the
Tara
funny
Taylor.
thing is that lends to your point of you cater to the people that are going.
Yep.
And everybody else will follow, right? So like the Taylor Swift fans, you cater. So you've got Travis Kelce, you promoted him, you pushed him out there and all that kind of stuff. And now Travis Kelce is dating Taylor Swift. Now you've got a gold mine.
Oh, it's
Well,
power
and
couple.
of course it was all fabricated. They're not actually dating.
We'll just
We'll leave it at that.
we'll sit with that
Yeah.
one.
I'm tongue in cheek because I completely argued against that point. Anyway, let's transition a bit. You've held a lot of positions with several sports teams, and what have you learned about the topic of leadership in your time with all these organizations?
The best leaders listen. It's not what I want. It's how you treat your people. And it's taken me a long time to understand, because I bet you when Greg and I worked together, I always want to speak. I always want it's my way or the highway. Now it's more about the collaboration. And when your team succeeds, it's a really uncanny. I'm still adjusting to this. We sold something, an advertising package the other day, and I just dropped a hint. This is what I'm thinking about doing. They ran with it. They did it. And they sold it. And I sent back going, oh, I just planted the seed. I don't have, that's my job as a leader now, to plant the seed and let them grow and develop. But then before, I wanted that recognition. And now I don't want that recognition anymore. I'd rather see my people succeed, because I know when they succeed, I succeed, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So, but the biggest thing is treat your people. And I don't like how treat your people how you want to be treated. No, you need to treat them better.
Right.
And you have to be available. So what I've changed my entire process. I have a large whiteboard in my office, and I used to write, Greg, everything I want him to do. Tim, everything I want. Now I cleared it. All their names are on top, and what they need from me, they write what they need. That's, my whiteboard is full. But my job is to serve them. So that's how I've changed, and it's taken me a dozen years to realize this. It's taken me you need to spend more time listening, you need to spend more time planning, and then you hire people for a reason. And I have a notebook. If they ask me a question or they're sort of on the edge, I actually turn to a page and it says, I hired you. And I show it to them. I hired you for a reason. I trust you.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I like to say it's not rocket science what we do, but I really want them to learn and grow. And one day I tell them, you're going to take my job.
Yeah.
Just don't get me fired. Right. So, but that, to me, that's the biggest thing, is listening and then understanding and then standing more behind the scenes.
Right.
Because now I see it when we do an event or a concert or a game, I want to be behind the scenes all the time.
Yeah.
And I want to see people succeed and grow. But the most humbling thing I still need to do this is to listen.
Yeah. I'm reading a book called Extreme Ownership.
Okay.
I'm halfway through it. One of our guests, our previous guests, told me to read it, and I'm halfway through it. And basically, the idea is, as a leader, the buck stops with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about, these people do this and it's their fault, but whatever it is, it's my responsibility. I haven't communicated well enough if they are doing something incorrectly, and if something goes wrong, I take the ownership on myself. So it's kind of similar to what you're saying.
So out of all the places that you've been, who's one leader that's really stood out to you that you could give this shout out to and say, like, this is the person that I've really learned the most from?
I would say my time with the Oilers, when I worked for a gentleman named Mike Creswick, he's out of Arizona. He really taught me that. Jerry really taught me, at the end of the day, is it's not about what you want. And it was tough because I'm like, I'm the director of marketing for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Just what you want to do. And he's like, you're not selling a game to yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? And then through that course, Lyle taught me at the end of the day, and he said this to me once I'll never forget. He's like, as a leader, I'm going to give you rope. You need to decide what you're going to do with that rope. And so I didn't fully understand that. And then he let me learn from my mistakes. And so Jerry taught me a lot. Lyle taught me the way to manage people and expectations, but Lyle also taught me that maybe a little bit too late in my career is because what he went through for cancer and how he started Never Alone Foundation is a job's a job. Like I remember one time he used to, Greg, we'd work the extra games and he'd close the office for 2 weeks. Well, I came in one time during the holidays and he was there.
Yeah.
He gave me, you're here too. he's like, "You have a young family." Lyle Bauer, I just turned around and walked out.
Yeah.
I stopped my car for a couple of minutes, like maybe he'll leave and I'll go back in. But you know what I mean? So those are the two leaders. And it really just taught me at the end of the day how to treat people better. But then also, and the advice I didn't take is to families first.
Mhm.
I may have learned that a little too late. But at the end of the day, those are things. And then last thing on Jerry is Jerry had a couch similar to this, and he had a little thing of jelly beans. And I know, and then he'd ask me, well, what do you want in there? And so I tell him what I'd want. And then whenever I walk in there and there wasn't what I wanted in there, sometimes I'm like, oh, he's mad at me. I did something wrong. But every time it'd be full, because he wants you to come in, he wants you to talk.
Yeah.
And then I really like that idea of people coming into your office and just shooting the you-know-whats. And then sometimes you don't need to always talk about work.
Yeah, I remember an away game for the Bombers. Me, you, and Jerry, and I think Tara was there. We were watching the game in his office, and one of the memories that I have from that is you texting Brad Foddy,
Yeah.
and saying, "Hey, I see Odell needs a new jersey. He's being held every play, and it's all ripped up." Like, I think this was probably like my 4th week, right? And I'm sitting there watching the game with the vice president of marketing, with Jeffrey, the director of branding, and Tara, who's Jerry's daughter. But yeah, like, and then Jeffrey just texting Brad, "Looks like Odell needs a new jersey. He's being held on every play." So, and that's Jeffrey just thinking about merchandise every second of the game, right? So
one of my best, Doug Barry. So I love Coach Barry. He came in one time. He says, "Hey, I hear you like to decorate coaches and make us your models. Just so you know, I don't wear hats, but I'll wear whatever else you want." I remember I got the Milton leather jackets. I got everything. And then it was to those point where you have to put, like, even now, I love what Coach O'Shea wears.
Because he's wearing the merch.
He dresses like a fan.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, to me, that is, and then Bill Belichick to me was great in a way. Like, how many hoodies in the back of the store in New England Pro Shop are cutting off the sleeves until they finally made those. But I think to me, coaches in any level, I would love the NHL coaches to, like, Torts now wears a quarter zip with that. But I watched the Celtics game the other day. Their entire coaching staff, all in green Nike quarter zips. I'm like, that is slick.
Well, they mandate that, right?
Yes.
You have to
Well,
wear
no,
certain
it's
things.
actually a new rule since COVID. During the COVID days when they played all in Florida, they let them wear tracksuits.
Yeah.
And they always had to wear a suit on the sidelines until then. And then after that, they stayed with the tracksuits because they could sell more merchandise. Because now you're selling the stuff that the coaches are wearing.
Mhm.
The worst coach that you ever had, and I remember you telling me this because I was there the year after that, was unfortunately Mike Kelly, because he would wear a suit and a tie every game on the sidelines because that's what his dad wore.
Yes. And that, to me, when he said, he was very open and honest in the beginning, he said this, but the great news about that is when he had his infamous press conference, he wore that gold, I still remember that gold hot jacket. Remember what we call that?
Yeah.
I'm like, good, bad, or indifferent. And Coach Kelly said this many times, there's no such thing as bad press. He proved there wasn't, because, sure, fans got mad at him, but we sold it because they saw it on TV. You know,
I think I have that one in my closet.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. Yeah, I agree with you. And if you get a good coach, that, like, I look at Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, like, the guy's head to toe in gear. Those coaches,
even like Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings now,
head to toe in gear, right? And Sean McVay, like, even with what's going on in LA, LAFD with the Rams logo,
instant seller,
and that's probably a charity.
Yep.
So, but now, how many people in LA, and take LA out of the equation, how many people across the world have that hoodie?
Yeah.
Speaking of the NFL, what's your dream job? Would it be with an NFL team?
Would be in a vice president role in either the NFL, but baseball, I would salivate at a baseball job. And then the caveat, a place that does not have snow.
During the year, none of them have snow. Not really in Minnesota. I guess it. Yeah, they come back in April.
Dream later job is to walk out onto my place of residence, and there's the beach is right there.
Okay.
Like, it could be a Carolina, it doesn't have to be a warm place, but to work in a sports team, to have where weather is not a factor in anything that you do. Like rain, I get it, but how many games do we have to prep for? Oh, it's supposed to be +3 today, now it's minus. And then Brad Foddy still wears shorts every single game.
Yeah.
Like Brad, like I wish, imagine if the Bombers played in a dome. Woo!
How amazing would that be?
Woo!
The argument, it's only for a couple of games. Is it really worth it, right? And would they get that value out of it with that. how
It's
much
the
price
concerts
it-
that they can bring in. They haven't had a concert since Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
I
but you know
believe.
what happens?
wow.
What happens is you do the dome, and some people are happy because you get the nice weather all
Yeah.
the time. But then you lose in the summer that beautiful day
Agreed.
outside in July.
Totally.
There's nothing like a Bomber game
I can't argue
in
that.
middle of July where the
Yeah.
sun's going down. It's plus 23. There's nothing like that.
Beer tastes colder.
Yeah.
It does.
It's and the thing with baseball is I love the fact that it's summer, right? And
Cool.
I love the dome stadiums, which is a very like polarizing statement because I like the stadiums that can retract. So like a stadium like Safeco in
We were there
in Seattle,
the
right?
fall, same
the
thing.
nice thing about Safeco is that that dome is open most of the time,
Yeah.
but it's closed because it's rainy there.
Yes.
So why would you even want to have a place where you could have half your games canceled because of the rain? No, have the dome. Perfect. A place like Houston has a dome, which is closed 90% of the time just because of the heat.
Yeah.
So, and even Miami, I think Miami, the dome was open for like 8 games last year or something like that. And it's not because of the rain, it's because of the heat again, right? So you could go to a team like Miami, you walk out to the beach,
Yep.
but you have to work in a dome.
Good point. Here's a question for you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Championship games, say football, should they be played indoors, or would you rather Super Bowl decided in New York?
So the Super Bowl's only been in New York once in the last
Mhm.
however many years.
They seem to keep it.
It has been in New York?
Yeah, they
Really?
played it
They
at
opened MetLife,
like
right?
5 years ago.
Really? For
Yeah.
some reason, I don't remember that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess. Oh, maybe I do actually.
I would like the Super Bowl to be played in a open air stadium, no matter where it is. So, like if it's a dome stadium, I want the dome open,
Gotcha.
right? So that personally, even like baseball, if it's the playoffs, I'd rather have the domes open because I think there's just more stuff that can go wrong with the domes being open unless it's raining. Like
Yeah.
for baseball, anyway. For football, play it open stadium every time.
Is there a football stadium that has a retractable roof at all?
Good question nowadays.
Because that's not even an
Arizona.
option.
No, Arizona's a field.
Yeah.
No,
Arizona's retractable
I
field.
don't think so.
Right. So that's not even.
Even- look
It's
at
either
Bu-
one or the other.
Look at Buffalo. It's not what they're building is open air.
Yeah,
Seats-
but and that's
fans-
part of the
seating's
vibe.
covered because they've learned they don't want to shovel
Yeah.
anymore. I get
Yeah.
that, but yeah.
But that's the vibe, right? You come to Buffalo, it's December, it's ugly, it's rough, tough, run the ball
Green Bay
football.
is like
People
that.
are throwing snowballs. It's kind of a selling feature,
I agree.
right? And a team like that comes in, Miami comes in, they don't play well there.
No.
So it's you're kind of a building, and you lose that advantage if you go elsewhere, right?
You know what I have loved though is the new stadiums with the glass roofs.
Yeah, you love
So Minnesota, have you been to Minnesota's new
No.
football stadium? You gotta go. So you would love this.
Yeah.
The football fan in you and the merch fan in you, everything. In the stadium during the pregame, it snows.
Like replica of snow.
No, not replica. It's a snow machine in the roof.
Right.
They have a snow machine in the roof that sprays snow during the intros of the players. It's unreal. And because of the glass all around it, you got the sunlight coming in, you can see outside. The games, they have these big doors, like the doors are floor to roof.
Yeah.
In a stadium, they just turn so the air is flowing through them. Like the stadium's unreal. You got to check it out.
Yeah.
It's worth every dollar that you spend
It's
to get
shaped
into
like
it.
a Vikings
Yeah.
And it's shaped like a Viking
It's heated
ship.
though, isn't the? I heard the glass is heated.
Yeah, so that the snow will melt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it doesn't implode again.
That was a whole
So
different
we are
world.
going to work on a road trip to a Vikings game.
You guys should do a Vikings bus
Yes.
trip.
Yeah.
Yes. Hustler, we're working on that. Yes.
Yes, are
Yes.
you?
Well, we've talked.
Yeah. Now, if that happens,
Yeah.
I would be all over that.
Kansas City.
Unfortunately,
Kansas City
I'm
versus
busy during
Minnesota?
this one,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Right, I'm not yet busy, so we'll
Yep.
talk. I have to know before I forget. I
Yep.
can't forget. You worked for Tim Hortons.
Yep.
You worked for McDonald's.
Yes.
Are in capacity with those two organizations.
Yep.
And McDonald's coffee used to absolutely suck.
Yes.
They were terrible.
I know. I made it.
And then all of a sudden, and it's argumentative, but my opinion is it's the best cup of straight up coffee you can get in the city. better than Starbucks, better than Tim's. Sorry, you can argue with me out there. Please do. But there was the rumor that McDonald's bought the Tim Hortons formula for their coffee.
No, the difference is Tim Hortons moved. It was in Burlington, close to Burlington, because I was actually in that plant. They just Tim Hortons moved to a different facility.
Okay.
McDonald's took over the old facility, so it's this. They took over the building, the warehouse, their equipment, but they brought in their own beans.
Okay.
So it's just if there's a couple Tim Hortons beans left over, I'm sure they're used by now.
Right.
But that's what happened. McDonald's just purchased that building once Tim Hortons sold it, and the landlord sold it to.
Right.
They'd sell it to us if we want to buy it, right?
Or maybe there was magic in that building. Magic,
Maybe.
coffee dust.
Willy Wonka magic.
Maybe.
And it created a great formula because the magic was not, it was in the building, was in the people that worked in that building. Yeah.
Maybe not.
I don't know if that was that, but you're with Football Manitoba.
So I'm the commissioner of the Winnipeg High School Football League.
Okay.
So and then I just retired. I was the U18 general manager for 6 years. So that
Were
is
you one of the commissioners that they boo? You know, they boo all commissioners. Did you get booed?
the coaches boo me, but the players love me.
Okay.
Right? So at the end of the day, if everyone likes like someone making decisions and you're in the wrong profession, I do get a lot of parents trying to give me constructive feedback. But then when I let them know that I've been through this, I've raised a son through this. My son is playing at the next level, so I understand what you're going through. And no, not your son isn't getting scouted when you say he's getting scouted. not every kid is going to go to D1. I get that all the time. But the reality is, I love the game of football for what it teaches, and it also teaches the ability for me is I don't care about the X's and O's. I care about the post-secondary education opportunities that it provides. That's what drives me. That's what fuels me. That's what allows me to put up with. And I will say this today: there's a lot of entitlement in youth sports.
Yeah,
I say more.
I've seen it in hockey.
It's ridiculous. And then I think if I had my way, and I have no parents shouldn't be allowed to use sports. Let the kids just play. If they're good, they'll get found. They'll go to the next level. Nothing a parent can do. And then my best piece of advice is stop all this. They have to do hockey 365.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne Gretzky played lacrosse and baseball. Go, have fun. Let them learn new friends, because at the end of the day, 99% of us are going to play beer league at the end.
Yeah.
So make those friends, make those connections. I used to, when I was with the Nomads, I was there for 10 years, it's not about the wins and losses, it's the friendships you make along the way. And now my best friends are from my coaching career.
Yeah.
So I miss coaching. I coached for 10 years. Long story short, I was coaching the U16 provincial team. My son tried out. I had to cut him.
Okay.
That was a long ride home. However, at that moment, I realized my son wasn't good enough to make that team. And I actually thought, at 14, he was going to quit football, but he made the decision to play basketball, to go to, recruit ready, to all those places that he needed to do the training. He made that decision. I was just a driver. Drove him to X, drove him to Y. He did all the extra training camps. And he got better on his own. It's nothing that I did. It wasn't my influence because I worked with the Bombers. Kyle Walters didn't come down and go, I'm going to draft your kid. Coach Dobie saw something in him, made him an offer. Through all his other offers, it was through his hard work. And parents try, I think, in these days, way too hard.
Yeah.
Just let your kids be kids. Let them have fun. And some of the best kids I've seen go, I don't want to play anymore. I want to become a doctor. I want to go into trades. I want to do this. And then the ability that it's all about my kid. My best advice is become an official first. You want to be a parent? I officiated for a year.
Okay.
It's the worst year of my life with my son. And the worst part is I knew
everybody become an official first.
everyone was heckling me, and I'm sitting there going, "What is?" You learn so much, and then after I went through my year of officiating, I was mid-year in my coaching career. Every ref I went up to, I said sorry, because I didn't know the rules. Sure, I worked in football, watched football. Now I'm selective when I yell at my TV because I'm like, ooh.
Well, it is a scientific fact. They have proven that all refs are biased toward or against the home team.
Toward or against?
Well, no. If you just go on the bulletin board material, the refs have it in for the Jets. If you're a Jet fan, the refs have it in for the Maple Leafs.
Lately, the refs have had
the refs
for every team except for the Jets. It feels like the Jets have been getting some pretty good calls.
I don't know. I'm just
power
saying
play numbers are through the roof.
Through the roof,
yes.
And their penalty kill has been
and if
really
we could
good.
continue doing that with the refs, I say that all the time when everyone says the refs got the Kansas City Chiefs to the Super Bowl. I said, well, keep it up. Maybe we can win the Super Bowl.
My
what
favorite
else are you gonna say?
is the guy getting his new Chiefs jersey and he opens it up and it's a ref jersey.
Yeah.
We should get Hustler Andrew a ref jersey for the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, I know he's a KC
And
fan
put a
too.
KC patch. You got connections. Get a
I
KC
like
patch.
Hustler.
Put
I
on
am
a.
not going down that path.
We've been trying to get him on the show, and he keeps evading us. So
He
if
says, "Yeah, I'd love to do it."
he
Next
says
Tuesday,
he'd love to do it, but-
tumbleweeds.
Yeah.
And
He's
I'm a
busy.
Kansas City guy. I'm with Hustler too. I'm a fan.
I'll get you a ref jersey
Get us
with the
two-
Kansas City
wait,
patch.
2 ref jerseys, 2 camo jerseys. What else are we getting? We're getting
Taylor
3
Swift
spots.
at Taylor Swift on Kansas City Youth jersey.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting 2 spots for free next Labor Day, which you're not going to. So I'll bring my wife. She'll be excited.
She'll be
to go.
she'll be. Really
We have
excited to
3
go on
quarters of
that
it.
trip.
We have 3/4 of a year to get the equipment and figure out how to use it,
And not interview Tara.
and not interview Tara. It's all
First, you have to
set.
find out who Tara is,
We intend to,
and then
we
not interview her.
we intend to. We just won't.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
But like merchandise has been kind of your life,
Yes.
and now you're in management of a building.
Yes.
What are you gonna do?
Greg, at the end of the day, it's all I call it's the hospitality. Like I
Yeah.
love serving, I love learning, but to me now I get this instead of serving merchandise, I'm serving experiences. That makes
Okay.
any sense. And
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer, and I write this on my bulletin board to my staff when we're going through everything. At the end of the day, it has to be a wow. And so for us, when we served guests at the Bomber store, they left going, "That was great customer service."
Yeah.
And so to me, it's the wow, and it doesn't make a difference. Wow, now if I'm serving a popcorn, cotton candy, or a concert ticket, even having the cleanest washrooms. It's the same thing, but it's a different type of transaction.
Yeah.
Selling merch is cool. Designing merch is beyond cool.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm like, hey, to my team, I'm like, I think this is what we should have for uniforms, and they're like, stay out of it, old man. And I'm like, what is this? Right? But let them run with it, let them go. But it doesn't make a difference if you're serving someone at Tim Hortons, McDonald's, my career, or even you're at Superstore, a checkout. You're interacting with people, and you have to give them the best possible experience so they come back.
Yeah.
I was just at Disney a couple of weeks
Oh,
ago, and
yeah,
hearing
okay.
the stories that my friend took a leadership course there,
Mhm.
and they were saying that every person within the organization has to work every other job for a period
I
of the
love that.
year, because and every person is giving ownership that you can do. You're allowed to think outside the box because, as you say,
Mhm.
it's the wow factor. Whether someone drops a little ice cream cone, well, you have the ability to say, I will get you a new ice cream cone,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Or if someone's doing the rides and there's a delay, you have the ability to say, here's a fast pass, right? Whereas people just are given a list of rules, and this is what I do, and I don't do this or whatever.
Yeah.
That you're thinking just in that lane. But like you say, that's a valuable lesson to learn. And Disney does it great, and I'm sure a lot of organizations do it great too. But what's the wow factor? What am I doing now in the position that I'm in to help somebody else? How they're experiencing now that's Southeast,
Are
right?
you going to be involved with any of the merch for the Pistons?
No.
No, they haven't let you dabble into that yet.
No, they know once I get in them. I'm not letting that out. But but like the back to service, the same thing is to me. We're going through a restaurant training, and one thing that bothers me if you see a server and they're like, "You need something," like I'll get your server. No, you stop it.
Right.
I want a refill. I need some sugar. I need some ketchup. It's the
Yeah.
same thing as empower your people to do this,
Yeah.
and then they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
They're going to learn, and at the end of the day, think like them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. And then what would you want in a situation? And it's get done. 9 times out of 10, people want napkins, ketchup, this, right? Or I'm on your side. How can I fix this?
Yeah.
Same thing. Retail doesn't make a difference to me.
Working as a team, working as
Yeah.
versus an individual, right? Like
Yeah.
what's in it for me versus what's in it for us,
100%.
right? So
Is there a date in March that you set for opening?
Hopefully we're allowed in the building first week of March, and then I've requested if we have a whole training plan because I need to have certain barriers certain achievements that need to be met. So hopefully Pistons are playing 14th, 15th, and they go into the playoffs. We have you'll love this. We have the provincial cornhole championships booked for the first weekend of May.
provincial
You're
cornhole
competing. You're
championships.
competing this year, right?
You know what cornhole is?
I have no idea.
Beanbag toss.
I've heard the word.
So-
Oh yes, I do know. I do know.
So you want to
yes.
see how big this is? You need to
I'm terrible at it.
You need to go online, Instagram, American Cornhole Association.
Yeah.
Just you'll be in awe from the sublimated jerseys, merch guy,
Yeah.
to the way they throw it, and then look in the stands. It's just like darts. Everyone's holding a beverage. They're having
Yeah.
a good time, and it's not just I play cornhole when I go to my girlfriend's family. This and I'm not good at it, but I have the best time in the world.
Right.
And our goal is to have thousands of people playing cash tournaments at the Southeast Event Center for cornhole.
My wife's family has a thing where you miss, or they have like beer little shots if they miss something like that. They miss or something
I
like
should
that.
I should just wear one of those things. I'd be drinking all the time.
Yeah, I get my release
Did
is
you
off.
know what I saw yesterday on TV? Virtual golf tournament.
I saw that too. Yeah, that's right.
So, and I think Tiger Woods was in it.
No, that's the SoFi one. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That screen is like ridiculously.
but they're hitting virtual golf balls.
Yeah.
Well, they're hitting golf balls into a virtual screen, and then they're chipping off of real grass onto a real green and hitting. I just saw parts of it at a restaurant the other day, and
It's
I'm
like
like,
3-on-3, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was very
Wow.
interesting. I'm like, what are they going to do for sports next? Apparently, it's the cornhole championships.
but that's probably been going on for a while. That sounds like something that.
Are you guys going to bring pickleball?
We have, yes, we are. We have the 55 plus senior games are there in June, and then we're back. Hopefully, we're working with Pickleball Manitoba to hold like a Bonspiel type tournament right after that. We're gonna
Wow.
take out the ice, do it right on the floor.
Yeah.
So have 16 games going at once. It's going to be it's the new wave, and at the end of the day, if you can just get people active, get them involved, and then on my side, increase food and beverage sales, a little bit of merch, have a good time.
Brings people to Steinbach.
That's what it's
So
about.
55 plus Canadian championships.
I think it's provincial.
Provincial
We're hosting that,
Manitoba. Okay,
and then after that, we're hosting a open tournament.
right.
I thought you were going to say 55 plus Canadian, so 100 American. So
He's getting
to
close.
play, you have to be 100 American.
So I have 7 years
Canadian.
to train for that to see if I can get good enough to compete.
But it won't be here every year, Tim.
Well, maybe in 7 years.
Maybe.
We'll work on it.
Every 7 years.
Sure, why not?
Start
Awesome.
training now.
Well, we have a game that we like to play with every guest
Sure.
at the end of every show. And if you haven't seen one of the episodes yet, it's a very fun game, very light, but there's rules to it. And Tim would like to explain those rules to
So
you.
the game itself is called This or That. Cue the this or that music. We don't have any. And you must choose between one item or a second item.
Okay.
Now, the caveat is when you pick one, you have to assume the other one goes away forever. It can never be experienced. You're just picking one. All right. And you cannot pass. Okay. You cannot say neither. You can't say tie, but you have to pick one. You may choose to elaborate on said pick, or you can choose to just keep on going. Do you understand the rules? Did I explain it properly?
You did.
He
You got it
always
this
gives
time.
me.
I feel like I'm in a
he
tunnel
always-
ready to run out here.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, you can fail. One person failed.
Okay.
We
The
can't
mayor.
say.
I saw that.
Well, I didn't want to say the mayor. Well, we're not going to say because we didn't say the mayor of what,
Yeah.
right? So
The
it could
mayor
be-
of Steinbach.
Yes, that's right. Which is Michelle Sawatsky. Okay. All right, are you ready?
Let's rock and roll.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Pizza or pasta?
Pizza. Not even close.
Favorite topping?
Oh, bacon.
Bacon. There we
Does
go.
pineapple belong on pizza?
There's no such thing as bad pizza.
Anchovies?
That's
Fine?
a political answer.
Okay, so I wouldn't order anchovies, but there's a pizza there with only anchovies and mushrooms on it.
Right.
My least two favorite things.
Yeah.
it's going down.
Okay, wow. Okay, there you go. You weren't kidding. Laser tag or paintball?
Oh, paintball hurts less. I mean, paintball hurts more, but you can hurt more. Paintball.
Paintball. You can injure more people. That's like
It's a great team bonding experience, paintball, especially when you're going out with your office coworkers.
Yes,
There you
unless
go,
you're the
yeah.
last one hidden behind the air inflatable and they're all coming after you. Great.
Exactly. Just for coffee alone, Tim's, Starbucks, or McDonald's?
Tim's.
Good. They're my second favorite.
Yeah.
Video games or Netflix?
Oh, Netflix.
What are you binging? What's the last show you binged?
Right now I'm watching The Madness.
Okay.
That if you haven't, that is crazy. And then I want to get into that new Disney one that just came out a couple days ago about the president being killed.
Okay, I think.
And then like Yellowstone and Landmine. Oh, I'm watching Lioness
Right.
a little bit, trying to get into that. So it's
Have you seen The Boys?
I'm 2.5 seasons I'm done. Yeah. So I watched that when I'm
So
on the
good.
elliptical.
Okay.
So now when I binge watch this and I'm told not only do I have to do cardio every second, so it's tough. These series take me forever. And then I just finished watching The Penguin, which I really liked.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I would fall asleep after, I watched, I think the last episode 8 times, so I kept on falling asleep. I think The Penguin was a very
Penguin I want to get into because it's kind of goes into
Phenomenal
mafia
show.
stuff like
Yeah.
that, which I'm really into.
Watch the
so-
Batman first, though.
Watch
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Batman?
If
The
you want to watch the
Batman.
Batman, then watch Penguin. Yeah.
Okay.
And it is The Batman.
Okay.
Don't watch Batman.
The
Watch
Batman.
Batman,
I'll
yeah.
add it to all the shows I
Yeah.
don't watch at all, but intend to. Would you rather climb a mountain or sit on a beach?
The beach.
The beach, okay. Princess Auto Stadium or Canad-In Stadium?
My heart is Canadians as a fan as Princess Audio for the amenities. Yeah.
Chocolate or chips?
No, wait. He cheated. You got to pick one.
Princess Auto.
No, he did. He
Okay.
clarified at the end. I
Okay.
understand his answer. Chocolate or chips?
One goes away forever.
Chocolate.
Good
Because you're
choice.
already having pizza, right? So you have the
That's
salty.
the toughest question of my life.
Yeah, I just felt the stress in the room just wafted over here.
Yeah.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Okay, well,
Correct.
everyone can be wrong once in a while. Sporting events or live sporting events or live concerts?
Nothing beats a live sporting event.
Okay. Coke
So
or-
one thing we talk about sporting events versus concerts, you can have a trip and go to a concert, and you never get disappointed. Whereas you go to a sporting event trip like Labor Day, you could come home sad.
As an employee, 10 years in a row, they lost.
I was at all 10 too.
I thought it was me for a while.
Yeah, well, it probably was. Coke or
And they did
Pepsi?
win after you left.
Yeah.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Pepsi's my jam.
Okay. Leafs, Habs, or Jets?
Leafs.
The Habs and Jets disappear forever.
Can
I'm okay
you-
with the Habs leaving.
Can you get the music to go kind of like, when the movie
Dun,
went
dun,
through? If you had one superhero ability, would you rather be invisible or be able to fly?
Think hard about this one.
I understand that, but I would rather fly so I can get my pizza faster.
Everyone picks fly. I don't think anyone's done invisibility, and he has a weird reason for liking invisibility, but he's the only one that's picked invisibility.
Again, I will argue every single time. If you are invisible, you can sneak into every sporting event. You can get into any concert. You can go on the plane. You don't have to fly. You can get on the plane. You can do anything if you're invisible because nobody knows you're doing it.
Just really thought about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've lost every time we've played
And in
this game.
private, he told me it was all about getting into the women's changing room.
That's not what I said.
Would you rather travel back in time 100 years to the past, or would you rather travel forward into the future 100 years?
Unlike Marty McFly, I'd like to go back.
You like to go back. I agree with you on that one.
Is there a specific reason?
I was talking about this with my girlfriend the other day. Is we argue about how the pyramids were made.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can't. Who's gonna build those today? Like how like I know that was more than 100 years, but you go back and even the fashion, the style, and how they had to really work for everything that they had. I just that whole era of 100 years ago, where nothing was given, it was earned, and I don't mean that in the wrong way, but you had to. People hustled, people grinded. If you didn't do well, there's no food on your table.
Mm-hmm.
But if you travel forward 100 years, you can bet on all the sporting events and win
No, you have to
thousands
travel
and
back in
thousands
time
of
to do that.
No, because you travel forward, see the results, and then you can come back and then bet on the games. I guess if you went, you'd have to have the memory. Anyway, you changed this next question that I had, and I keep forgetting how you changed it.
Right.
Okay,
I'll ask it then.
Go ahead.
Okay. If you had a choice to sit down and have dinner with one person alive right now in this world, who would it be?
Alive?
Yeah.
And I disagree with we used to be dead or alive. I like the other question, but he likes to be alive now.
Truth be told, I'd like to sit down with Donald Trump and ask him privately why he does what he does. I don't agree with most of the stuff that he's saying and doing right now, but I'd like to understand the why, because to him it has to be important and valued, where like I almost disagree with everything that he's doing, but I'd just like to know why.
Yeah.
And we can't get into that because that's a 20-minute conversation
Yeah.
minimum, and then we'd all be yelling at each other,
Yeah.
and it would probably be a bad end to the interview.
Because you love Trump. Let's put that on the record. Tim loves Trump.
I love blanket statements. They just throw it at the end of the interview because you love Trump. You're a Trump lover.
Yeah.
Just whatever he wants to say, it must be true.
Just like
Two
internet.
truths, one lie.
Three places in Manitoba that you love going to on a date or other occasion.
I love exploring I love hiking. So I think it was called the Desert Hill or Desert Sands. The one hill where you cannot climb up and the sand keeps on coming you down. I really like Birds Hill. I think the ability just to get away and so close to the city. And then I like the exchange. I like not in the winter, not now,
Right.
but walking around the exchange. I like walking around downtown during the day. To me, those would be the places that I like.
Awesome.
Cool. What's your favorite restaurant on the Exchange?
I like the Peasant Cookery. To me, the bread basket that they serve, it's almost like, if we were sitting there and bring the bread basket, I'm like, you're getting your own, because it's just a different variety. But I really like that. And then SIBO, I believe it's a blueberry Moscow Mule. I don't know what they put in that, boys, but it is one and done.
It's on the waterfront there, right? Beside the
It is
hotel.
phenomenal. The pizza's phenomenal. I think that it's Brooklyn pepperoni. So I really like SIBO, but I just have to be careful when I go to SIBO because I'm probably gonna have too much pizza.
Yeah.
And these blueberry Moscow Mules are gonna put this big guy down.
So, yeah. Well, at least you're getting some bread in there to soak it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been
Have
to
you
bo- I've
tried
been to-
James Avenue Pump House?
Yes, that's right on
Right by
there.
yeah.
I like that a lot. The funny thing about it is, girlfriend used to live really close to there and always busy, packed.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So to me, that's a sign of a really good restaurant is you can't get in.
Yeah.
So that is
And the perfect size.
yes, that
It's
you
all
get
about
that sweet
size.
spot. Yes.
Yeah, very different. You see the pump house in the back. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
We were there in the summer, so
Yeah.
really liked it. So awesome, great answers.
Okay. Do you want me to ask the last question
The
of the day?
very last
This is the question that
Go
wraps it all up.
ahead.
If you were to give yourself a piece of advice 20 years ago, what would it be?
Join the military.
You're very quick on that answer.
I come from a military family. I look back at my life, look like what I would have wanted to accomplish. I think that I think about that almost every day.
Okay.
I was the first male in my family not to go in the military, so I think about that all the time.
Would you? I'll use the R word. Regret?
Regret not going to the military? I chose McDonald's over the military.
And some people would argue working at McDonald's is very similar to the military.
I grew up. My father was a sailor. I learned how to mop. Like I can. Let's not get into a mopping competition
Right.
because I feel I could never live up to the expectations. But at the end of the day, I just think in my life. But then I also think though is would I have the kids? Would I have the relationships? What all those type of stuff. But I think I would have liked to join the military.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that wraps up the episode. Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
It's
you.
been a fantastic conversation. We went in probably 25 different directions, which is usually what we do, but we appreciate that because it means that we're figuring out more about what you are, why you do what you do, what makes you you. So we appreciate you opening up a lot with us and chatting with us today.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure and a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks a
Appreciate
lot
it.
for coming. And for everyone out there,
Don't forget to
like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things. On this particular interview, past interviews, I know we did a lot of sports today for Jasmine. That was the reason she requested. We got the text 5 minutes before. We weren't even going to go on to all these sports topics.
we were going to just talk
She
about
messaged us,
politics.
guys, remember to talk to Jeffrey about sports because he has an in-depth knowledge of a lot of sports in a lot of areas. So
Yeah.
just did that.
Where's
for
the
you,
subscribe button again?
Jasmine, right here, right by your knee.
Below my knee.
Yeah, that's what I did. I did below your knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then comment and tell us what you think about the episode. And don't forget, the Southeast Event Center is opening mid-March. And there's going to be some amazing events there. You should check them all out because it's going to be a world-class
I
facility
heard that it's
in
worth
a
the
very
trip.
small town.
I heard somewhere that it's worth a trip to Steinbeck, even if you're.
It is
in
the
Winnipeg.
automobile city. Is the event center going to be shaped like an automobile?
Phase 2.
Phase 2. There we go. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Sharing is caring.